Hey, bitches.
What's up? We haven't said that in a hot minute.
I know. Bringing
Uh,
it back.
Yeah, Throwback Thursday to our old intro. Bringing it back. Hi, you're listening. I was going to say you're watching.
Yeah, no, maybe not.
You're absolutely not watching this.
Yeah, you're probably glad you're not watching this because I'm in pajamas and I'm looking a little rough today.
I mean, pretty much same. So.
It's Sunday. You're lucky I have pants on. To be
No
honest.
judgment. I mean, you're like 80% pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You are listening to Hot for Justice.
Yes, podcast.
Yes.
And I'm Jessica.
And I'm Jamie, in case you were unaware. This is starting off wonderfully.
I know. It's been a while since we've recorded, and we didn't have an episode last week,
Yeah.
so we're terribly sorry. It just didn't work out to meet up and
Yeah,
record. It happens.
Life
and
is hard.
I'm-
Especially when you're 80+% pregnant.
and 1,000% done with it, so it is difficult.
Yeah, and also it's fucking hot here.
Yeah, it's
So it's
very
just
hot.
one of those things where
And we had the baby shower, which
Yep.
Jamie helped me plan, and like literally, I would have not been able to do it without you. It was kind of a hot mess express getting it going.
but we did it.
We did it. So then
Yeah.
that took me like two weeks to recover from. Yesterday was 2 weeks. I just recovered.
Yeah, and I went to a wedding yesterday and I am not recovered. It was a lot of fun though. Actually, the bride listens to this, so hey Brittany.
Oh,
You looked beautiful.
Congratulations, Brittany. I don't know you, but awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, super great time. I drank, a little bit, smoked some cigars.
There
It
you
was
go.
One of those days.
Weddings are just so fun to do that. Free drinks. Like your wedding? Oh, gosh. I got mine really drunk.
A lot of people did.
It was fun.
At least you didn't throw up over the balcony like my maid of honor.
Oh my gosh. No, but we all almost threw up in our Uber on the way home.
Yeah, that was like such a fat
Like
lady.
all of us, not just me. But we all got out of the car and we all looked green. It was
Oh, no.
bad because he was jerk. It wasn't even that we were drunk. We probably would have been fine had we had like a good driver. But he was like slamming the brakes on and swerving and like we were. It was just awful.
Oh my god.
Anyways,
Um,
we're gonna do a screen recap
yes.
about this new. So it's so funny. I got an email. I'm walking into work on whatever day, Thursday.
It was
or-
Friday morning.
Yeah. And this new show, Netflix emailed me and they're like, we have a new show. We think you're going to like it. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously Jamie's going to like it too. So I took a screenshot of it. Exhibit A is what it's called.
Yes.
I
We're very early into this train,
We are.
which is
We're
like
coming
not
at you
usually the
hot.
case.
So if you haven't watched it, it's actually really interesting. And
It's
the
so
episodes are
good.
pretty short. So I watched it in one night.
I watched it in one day because Thursday and Friday I wasn't feeling well, so I called it to work, and I literally started it Friday morning. You texted me at like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I started the first episode almost immediately after that and had them all done by 1 p.m.
Yeah.
I did have to take a break at one point because I was just like,
It makes
okay.
you mad.
Yeah, you're really pissing the fuck off.
Yeah. So, and I watched it a little bit after Jamie did, and I came up with my own titles for the episodes. So, if you haven't watched it, go watch it before you listen to our podcast.
11 out of 10 recommend it. If you don't know what it is a little 4-part, like
Yeah.
almost a docu-series, I guess.
Yeah, it
if you wanna
covers
call it
like
that.
4 different cases where they've used forensic, science, and it kind of goes over how the forensic science can really be,
Crap.
yeah, and so subjective.
Mhm.
It's even though these people are like testifying at these trials or, experts or whatever, some of them aren't even.
No, like they are self-proclaimed experts.
Right.
Like the first guy.
Right, which watching that I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, so the first episode's about this guy that is, I'm going to go ahead and say wrongly convicted, because this is all about like wrongly convicted
Yeah.
people, or allegedly wrongly convicted people that were convicted because of shit science,
Yeah.
essentially.
I mean, and like they're all still in jail, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if the guy,
The third one. Oh no, yeah.
and I think they all are still currently incarcerated.
Except for the last one.
Yeah,
But
the last guy, but he's currently out on bail while they're like awaiting his trial.
Yeah.
So,
So, but yeah. Go.
so, yeah, the first one is this white rapper from
Okay.
Texas.
So this is the actual episode title is video. So each one's about different type of forensic. It's about video forensics because he was mainly convicted on the basis of a video recording.
Yeah, from a 7-Eleven.
Right. And my title for the episode was Terrible Fucking Rapper, and definitely not 5'7". And you're going to have to watch it to really understand what I mean.
By the way, Jess sent these to me because I went out for a drink with our friend Haley, who also listens. Hey, bitch.
Hey, Haley, love you.
And Jess was texting me these as I'm like a good couple Jack and Cokes deep. I was deceased. Yeah, so they were talking about how, like, video is supposed to be, like, the end-all, be-all. If you caught on tape, like, you fucking did it.
Right.
Right? But the guy in the security footage is clearly, like, not... He's, like, around... He's the same height as the cashier, who was, like, 5'6", 5'7".
And she said that, like, in her interview, she said, I was eye-to-eye with him as he was robbing me at gunpoint. Mm-hmm. And I know witness statements, too, can be, like...
Kind of funky.
Right, but, like, if you're looking at somebody fucking in the eye and you notice you're the same height as them, like, you're going to notice if someone's your height, which is 5'7", versus somebody who, like the man who was convicted, is 6'3", because that is a huge difference. Like, for me, that is an entire foot of a difference.
I know. So it reminds me of the baby shower pictures. My mom saw them and she's like, God damn, you're the giant of your friend group. Everyone's so short compared to you.
Your hair in a bun made you look taller, too.
That added an extra good 3 inches.
So, yes. You notice, and, like, I watched this with my husband. Hey, Wes. Sorry, Zach. And,
Jesus Christ. Hey, Zach watched the first episode with me.
Did he fall asleep?
No, not this time. Jesus Christ.
I'm on a roll today.
You were on one. And I am here for it. Anyway, go on.
He was like, that is just something that you notice. So it's, even if, I mean, like, as a cop, you have to listen to that. If both women who were in the gas station at the time say, yeah, he was 5'7", and in the video, you can see when he opens a door, he meets the same height as
the marker that says 5'7".
Yeah, it's like a sign on the door, right? Mm-hmm. So the cashier, she hit the same, about the same
part on the door.
Yeah,
as like she walked out right after him to like kind of like see where he went when she called the cops
and locked the door.
Right,
smart idea. And so the guy they convicted was 6'3", and he had been in trouble with the law, and they knew who he was, and he'd been arrested constantly, and kind of was one of those people who just like have no respect for the police, which I won't lie, he really irritated me. But he definitely, I mean, there's just no evidence that...
Yeah, and so the guy that was their video expert he was such a pain in my ass. Like, I hated him so much.
Yeah.
Like, he was just like, oh yeah, like, I'm so fucking smart. Like, I'm so good at this. I'm self-taught.
Yeah.
I made my own program. Like, what?
And that was the other thing, too. People were saying, like, this isn't right, because he's not really an expert. No. He owns his own forensics company, video, whatever.
Right.
And he, like, investigates crashes or something, right?
Yeah, it's mostly, like, weird one-off things. It's not stuff like this. Like, because he does, like, crime scene reconstruction, like, digitally.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, like, I manipulated the footage to make it... because like the camera is like pointing down at an angle, but I manipulated the footage to make it look like it was straight on, and when you do that, it makes him taller.
Right.
It's like, but that's not how that works.
Right. But the other thing I was thinking when he was doing that, right, was that even though the video is angled up at a, you know, like, it's not straight on, but it's the same. You have to think of the perspective. Yep. Like, it catches her at the same height it catches him.
Yeah, and she's not fucking 6'3".
And the camera didn't move.
No.
So, yeah. It was infuriating to watch.
Also, real quick sidebar. Can we, like, talk about that, like, the owner of the motel? Like, that Asian lady, she was so annoying.
And I'm not being racist, but if you have to say that sentence, you're being racist.
Yeah. And, like, that bitch totally called Crime Stoppers to get her grand, and just...
I know. And she's like, I felt bad doing it, but...
But, like, you know,
what if he killed somebody? Well, it wasn't him.
Right.
You literally, she said her her reenactment was she saw the video on the news and she recognized the person. The video is super grainy.
It was so shitty. He was wearing sunglasses and a hood.
You can't really, I mean, yeah, they look similar, but
Yeah.
there's an obvious height and like breadth different. Like his shoulders
say
were
that-
very wide. The guy who they convicted, what his name was, George or something.
Yeah, like, I think George Powell.
Yeah, and he's just a big dude.
Yeah.
He's a huge dude.
He's 6'3" and like not skinny. Like,
Yeah. So,
and the guy that did it is short and skinny.
and got away with it.
100% multiple times. 'Cause
Yeah.
there was like what 3 or 4
Yeah.
robberies that week.
Yeah. Well, and so they even asked the lady at one of the gas stations knew George, and they said, "Was this the guy?" That was the other thing.
Oh my god, I know.
With the lineup.
Yeah.
So they're like, she said, "No, absolutely not. I know George. I see him every day." It was not George.
Yeah.
George would have to be a fool to rob somebody he knows.
100%.
Okay.
Well, and then when they're like, okay, if you're looking at just these 2 people, out of these 2, who would it be?
Right.
One being George and one being someone that looked completely fucking
Which
different.
is not they're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, and they were like, I mean, if it was only between those 2, it would be him, but it's not him. And then
Right.
they're like, okay, thanks, bye. That's all we needed.
Yeah. Well, and they said they asked like one of the attendants at the other gas stations, and she basically fell for it and was like, "Well, yeah, that's him." But she didn't know George, but they really basically fed her that, which is
100%.
just it's just messed up.
Bullshit.
It is.
And then the second one was the blood spatter.
Blood spatter.
Oh my god, this one pissed me the fuck off. But actually, I think this was my favorite episode, though.
Yeah, it was. You had your quote.
Yes. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, you should. It's a hoot and a half. My new
I
Twitter...
even checked Twitter for this. She texted me.
The quote of the entire series, and what I made my Twitter bio now, is "She hauled trash and pussy." And I'm like, I want that shit on my tombstone. That is the best quote I've ever heard.
One day, if we're ever popular enough, we have merch.
Yes.
That's
a
gonna
t-shirt.
be Jamie's gonna be.
That's gonna be on a
It's gonna-
t-shirt.
My title for this episode was "Periods Happen." Don't investigators know that? Because they're like, she had blood on her nightgown, like one speck of blood.
That they couldn't test the DNA of.
Right. Okay. Like, do you not know that people bleed? Like, your nose bleeds.
Yep.
Sometimes you're on your period and
Or maybe
you
she
bleed
cut herself
at
shaving.
night. Right. Like, there's a tiny speck of blood
One
was
drop.
all she was convicted on when
Literally.
her husband was shot in the head.
Yeah. So,
Which Wes did bring up a good point, because I was like, this is some bullshit. And he was like, well, she could have been standing kind of far away and just like got one little blood. But she got him right in the dome,
yeah.
in the middle of the head. So, I mean, I don't know. Weren't they from Texas?
Yeah.
I know
the
Texans.
first 2 cases were Texas.
I know they love their guns, so maybe she's a good shot. I don't know, but
Well, I mean, like, they even, like, had, like, I think her friend on, and she was like, yeah, she would have never fucking, like, she would never hurt a fly, much less her husband.
right. Because that was, I mean, and they showed, like, normally crime scene pictures, they, like, blur stuff
Yeah,
out.
dude.
But they did not. You could see his head, you could see the side views, you could see his face. He was asleep, got shot in the back of the head, and there
Yeah.
was blood spatter.
So, I do think it was a little bit weird, I'm not gonna lie. Like, she seemed very sus to me at first, because, so they were like, oh yeah, like, she went upstairs to go lay down up in the upstairs bedroom because she couldn't sleep, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when she heard the gunshot, she, like, waited around for a couple minutes and then ran to her neighbor's house.
Yeah. See, this was the one where I felt she very well could have done it.
Right.
But the evidence they presented to convict her
Wasn't
was
enough.
No. Was
I 100% agree.
yeah. So this one was kind of like, I thought was a more interesting episode because it was kind of like, well, maybe
Yeah.
she's a little bit kind of weird, but I don't know. You go off of behavior sometimes when you really shouldn't, you know? Like,
Yeah, because, like, maybe she was just, like, spooked and she was like, oh, if the guy's still in the house, I'm going to run out the back door and go elsewhere.
right.
Like, I mean, like,
I don't know. It's just weird.
I don't know what I would have done in that situation.
But, like, if my husband was sleeping and I couldn't sleep, unless he, like, I don't know. We have a guest room in our house, and I would never just go lay in another room. If I was tired and trying to, like, take a nap or rest, I would go lay in my bed.
Yeah. I mean, like, occasionally, like, maybe I would, like, go to the couch, but, like,
Yeah, the couch, maybe.
but not, like, a spare bedroom. Like, that's a little weird to me.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't go in
like,
my spare
I've
room
literally never slept in my spare bedroom.
either. No, same.
Ever. So, I don't know. But,
It's a little silly to me, but I mean, they said that this was where their, like, household, like, television was up in that spare room.
Weird.
And she went to watch TV.
okay, well, that makes more sense, I guess.
Right.
But
But
still,
it's still weird.
It's weird. Yeah, I mean, like, if I heard a gunshot, I wouldn't I don't know. I guess I don't know what I would do, but I feel like I wouldn't just bounce. I would go see if my husband was okay.
Right, like, especially because at first she was like, oh, like, I thought it was him that, like, fired the shot. And
So you're gonna, yeah, I don't know.
Or, like, would you have, like, hollered at him and been like, hey, like, what's going on?
Right. Are you trying to kill me? Because if so, we can just get divorced. Like, don't kill me.
No need for that.
Put the gun down.
Yeah, no, that one was really wild to me. And the guy was like, yeah, I went over that entire dress with my microscope and I found like 60 spots of blood, but only one of them tested positive for blood.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck were the other 59?
Right. Yeah, it was just weird. It was really weird. So that episode was really interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, it
she's-
really kind of pissed me off.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, she's in jail for it.
yeah, and she's
She's
been in jail
old.
for like 30 years.
Well,
or
it was a
something.
cold case too. No,
Yes.
yeah, it was a cold case. So
yeah.
she got they didn't even, I don't think really, they might have suspected her, but she was like free. They only arrested her like after,
I think it was like
25
2014.
years or something.
Yeah, because it happened in like the 80s and then, or 90s?
Yeah.
80s or 90s, I forget. And then, yeah, they convicted her, I think, in 2014 or 2015.
Yeah, so it sucks
Yeah.
for her. I mean,
And she was like 60 when they convicted her.
yeah,
And they're like, yeah, she's probably going to die in prison just because
Yeah.
she's fucking old.
yeah. Yep, basically, because I think she got sentenced to, I did the math. let's cautiously trust it. She would be like, I think 90 by the time she got out or something
Yeah.
like that. AKA, that's really old.
Yeah. Dude, if I'm like 90, just take me out back and shoot me. I'm good.
Right?
No, thank you.
But if I live to be 90, I'm going to be drinking mimosas all day long every day
Oh,
on the beach
absolutely.
somewhere. Don't bother me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Yeah. With a bunch of dogs. Let's make that happen.
Yeah, I'm into that.
All right.
Mark our words. When we are in our 90s, we'll be on a beach somewhere sipping mimosas.
Yes.
With a dog. Like, I was going to say like a dog farm.
Dog farm.
Yeah.
That's my dream. Eventually,
Perfect. Into it.
retire dog farm. Anyways, well, that brings us into a perfect segue for the third episode, which
Yes.
is about cadaver dogs.
Which is honestly, like, I think it's like one of the coolest things ever. And
Yeah.
they did like a whole chapter on it in that book that for the book club that failed.
Yes, yeah, they did. It was good because well, okay, so dogs have like 100, or it was like 100 times the sense of smell that we have,
Something like that.
so that they can when they smell something, they can smell basically like what's in it, which is probably why my dog eats poop.
He's like, oh yes, I remember what I ate yesterday. It was great.
Just having my mom has me on this diet, so I'm gonna just have this little snack. He hates me. Anyways,
He does not hate you.
he's laying under the chair like such a good boy.
Yes,
My episode title for this one was Rufus Can't Be the Only Witness. Okay, so
Actually, I lied. This one pissed me off the most.
yeah.
Like, because they had like literally nothing.
Okay, but how he was acting, the dad,
It was weird.
it was weird. But when you look at him at the trial, he looks devastated.
Mhm.
Like he just looks so devastated. So maybe he's lying and not saying like the full truth. I don't think he killed her.
No, I don't think so either. I think he knows what happened as far as like the initial kidnapping or like the theft, whatever. But beyond that, I don't think he knows what happened.
Right.
Like, I think not necessarily that he was involved directly,
Right.
but I think he knows more than he's letting on. Like, maybe it's like something gang related, or
Right,
something.
which is kind of what I was thinking, or like,
Mhm.
I mean, so basically what happens, this one's in Detroit, and this dad is driving with his daughter, and he gets carjacked, and they take the daughter too.
Yeah, and she's like 2.
Yeah, and they found the car, they never found the daughter.
But they found the car seat.
They found the car seat, and then they brought in a cadaver dog, like later on, they brought him in from London, right?
Yeah.
From England.
So,
It's the same dog from the Madeline McCann case.
And that dog also didn't really turn up dick, did he?
No, he did not. And so, Dingo's looking at us because we're talking about dogs. Hi, Dingo.
He knows.
But yeah, it was just they found the car in the car seat. The cadaver dog hit on the car seat, and what they had said, they suspected that he killed her in bed, but they never found blood.
No, they, so basically, if you guys are unfamiliar, there's a difference between cadaver dogs and,
Yeah, like live
regular dogs.
Yeah. They're trained to sense scent like different.
Yeah.
Like
so-
obviously a human scent alive is different than a decomposing body scent, which is
right, which is the cadaver
Yeah.
dog. So that one's, they're only looking for decomposition materials.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think they even touched on was like, either the same dogs or a different set of dogs had a hit in somebody's basement once.
Yeah.
But they were like 100 yards from a cemetery.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder
It's
that the dog's going to
subjective.
have a feeling that there's something dead there, because 100 feet away is a bunch of dead bodies.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, it's definitely like kind of a flawed science in a way. I mean, like there's been great things that have come from
Right.
like both cadaver and like rescue dogs, I guess.
Yeah. And like what I texted to Jamie, I was like, they are a great tool when used in
Right.
conjunction with other evidence. But he was convicted on the murder of his daughter basically solely because of this cadaver dog.
Yeah, which is
And
absolute bullshit.
they said they found like mucus and stuff on her sheets, but there was
Yeah.
again, human bodies are gross.
Well, yeah, the
There's-
mom even said she's like, she was a drooly baby.
Yeah,
Like, kids have snot.
yeah, it happened. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they did find blood on the pillow. It was like trace amounts of blood, and she was like, there's trace amounts of blood in your nose, in your mouth,
Yeah.
like almost all the time.
Especially like you're sleeping, your nose gets dry, like it was
Yeah.
winter time. That happened. I get nosebleeds in the winter.
Mhm.
It was.
Like I said, that one really just pissed me the fuck off.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
it was not nearly enough to convict him for murdering his own child.
No, and honestly, like he really just looked so devastated. It's like you can't fake that.
No.
He truly looked so devastated.
And I literally like almost broke down and like ugly cried when the mom like shared that thing about the dream that she had.
Yeah.
Oh my
I know
God.
because I've had dreams like that
Oh really?
with family like
Fuck.
who's passed away, and it seems so real, and then you wake up and you're like, oh wow, that sucks. It makes you cry almost.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, because at
it's
first
not-
I thought it was a real story too. I was like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
they found the kid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh fuck.
I know. I felt bad for her.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. That's why I had to take a break in between 3 and 4, because I was like, I need
Yeah.
a minute.
My internet cut out between 3 and 4, so I resumed 4 in the morning. And
Start segue now to number 4.
Yes.
What
About touch DNA.
Yes.
Yeah, so-
episode 4, Jessica entitled it "Don't Touch Anything Ever."
Because this one was, oh my god, this one was to me the least interesting of all of them.
Yeah, and
But so this black gay man
Mm-hmm.
in New York basically got dropped off by his friends.
yeah, they were partying
after a night out.
Yeah, and then him and his friend were like shooting the shit. And he's like, "Get the fuck out of my car!"
Yeah.
And he was like, "All right, whatever. I'll just walk the couple
Rest of
more
the way
blocks
home, yeah.
to my house." Yeah, he gets out, and it's in a very like predominantly Jewish neighborhood.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, he's like, "Oh my God, this guy's following me!" And so he kind of starts picking up his pace, like almost running, and the guy starts literally chasing after him. And then all these other dudes,
It
like,
ends up being like more than 20 people.
yeah, they're fucking mobbing him
dudes
and beating the shit out of
yeah.
him. Like one of the dudes, like even like puts his thumb. I mean, you can't see him. He puts his thumb as an eye
Yeah.
socket, and he's now blind in one eye.
Yeah, because he had a detached retina from
Yep.
the beating he took.
Yeah,
So, at first they were just like not gonna do anything about it.
yeah, because he woke up in the hospital, and he was like, "What the fuck happened to me?" Like because he barely remembered like
Yeah.
bits and pieces. He ended up going to the precinct office to file a police report, and they're like, "Oh, the case is already closed
Yeah.
and shut." And he's like, "Excuse me?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, like there's no case here." Until they posted about it on social media, right? And then like it caused a big uproar.
Yeah, and then people were like, "We're gonna do something about this."
Yeah. But all the religious Jewish leaders were friends of the cops.
Yeah.
And that's why the case got closed initially.
Yeah.
And this guy, I forget what his relation is to the community, the guy that got convicted.
I don't remember.
But he was like a part of like the church,
Yeah.
basically. He gets convicted because there's a security footage of someone ripping the shoe off this kid
And
and throwing it
yeah.
onto a rooftop. And they test the shoe for DNA.
They find it, test it for DNA. It had rained in between
Yep.
them finding the shoe and
It had been weeks.
Yeah, and it had rained, but they found minuscule amounts of DNA, quote unquote.
Yeah, that they had to manipulate the DNA in order to test it in the first place because it wasn't enough to test.
Yeah.
And like when you do that, they explain it really well. Like it's like you're taking to copy DNA, you're taking a copy of the original, but then you have to copy the copies to
Yeah.
get enough DNA. It's like if you photocopied something and then kept photocopying the photocopies.
Right, which it distorts it.
Yeah, it makes it almost illegible.
Yeah.
And, if you're, an Ashkenazi Jew, there is a lot of DNA types that are very similar within that. And so they're like, it could have been any fucking Jewish person.
Yeah, and so but they picked out the one. I can't remember his name. It was it was an odd name.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was either. But yeah, and then they're like, okay, yeah, it's him. And even though the DNA profile could have matched anybody in that neighborhood.
Yeah. And so he's convicted, and then I think now he's getting a retrial, right, or something?
Yes, and that's why he's currently out, is because they did have some sort of like deal that in the time in between his appeal and his last sentencing, I guess.
Yeah.
He's allowed to like be free.
And he's saying how he's, he had 2 kids and he was married and now he's divorced, and it basically ruined his life. And the guy who's beat, his life has changed. I mean, like, he can't see out of one of his eyes. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and like DNA evidence is something that like people put like so much weight on.
Because you watch TV and you think like, well, do you have your DNA? That's it. You did it. Like,
yeah.
It's foolproof, but it's not always foolproof.
Yeah, and that's something I don't think people really realize. Like, that's something I didn't even really 100%
I didn't
realize.
Either.
Like, someone, like one of the experts in that episode was like, oh yeah, it really comes down to statistics. And like, again, like that crime lab made their own software system.
Yeah,
that was
which
basically
they don't
just
use now.
which is a stats program, basically. Yeah. Like, it looked like a stats program I used in college.
Yeah.
And you can make stats appear any way you want.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just, it really makes you think about it. Like, when you read about these cases and you just think, oh, well, he's on video, or oh, they have his DNA. Well, might not be what you think.
Yeah, and I mean, if you touch anything, you're leaving DNA.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, God forbid he was in that neighborhood and he stepped on something that, like...
Or even, like she said, if you touch a doorknob and then I touch a doorknob, I'm going to have some of your DNA
on your hand now.
And then I touch something and I'm transferring it to something else. Like, who knows? If he knows these people, it's a tight-knit Jewish community. It's completely possible somebody else he knows did it.
Yeah.
And touched him or I don't know. There's 1,000 explanations in that situation. So, yeah, it's a good show. And like I said, you can watch it pretty quick.
Yeah, I think each episode's around 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, one I think is a little bit shorter and a couple are like 35 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's worth a watch.
Absolutely.
It really kind of opens your eyes to how much bunk science there really is. Or at least bunk representations of science.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, really, realistically, you're paying an expert, quote-unquote expert, to come and speak, and they're going to say what you're paying them to say.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of, like, The Staircase, especially, like, I was telling you about it. You said that you didn't watch the whole thing.
I watched, like, 3 episodes, and I was like, ugh, I cannot take this dude.
No, he's such a dickhead.
His one son, though, he's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Even for, like, in the 2000s, early 2000s, I was like, whew. Anyways.
But yeah, like, the defendant, he had a lot of money, and so they could pay for whatever witnesses they wanted and experts to say what they wanted to say.
Yeah.
Because when the state brought their own people, they were saying the exact opposite, and they're like, oh, weird.
Right. It's just, so, who do you believe?
Exactly. And so it just, I mean, like, I've gone to jury duty a couple times. I've never actually had to, like, be on the jury.
Yeah.
But I couldn't fucking imagine.
No.
Like, how hard that has to be.
I've never had to, so, but yeah, a quote that I thought was interesting too was that you're admitted as an expert, the judge doesn't know, the jury doesn't know, they're going off of what you are saying, and like this one dude was self-taught and he qualified as an expert, like there should be something that, like some sort of governing body for that.
Yeah, like you have to like have X amount of time in the practice or...
And like education
or like a certification or something.
Something. Jesus.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah, exactly. So give it a watch and let us know what you think.
Yes.
Also, if you have thoughts on The Staircase, also let us know what you think. So I didn't watch it, but I did listen to a podcast about it. So I do know that they try to blame it on a fucking owl or something.
Yeah, that's I think my favorite theory because it's so dumb.
It's a joke. Jeez.
But it's a real ass theory.
Oh my god.
People like subscribe to that. Like,
Yeah, I know.
like so hard. I'm like,
That's what they were saying in the
literally
podcast.
Mhm.
It really depends too. Like on the podcast, really framed it in a way that made him seem innocent.
how? Oh, really? Well, okay. I'm gonna just fucking tell you. He killed his first wife and his second wife in the
Yeah.
same fucking way.
You know, I remember just like the crime scene pictures they took of her, the second wife, and I was like, oh wow. Like I said, normally they blur it out, but they did not save anything.
Nope.
And it's an image that sticks with you
Yeah.
because it's gruesome.
It's so gnarly.
Like I just don't see how. No, I just don't see it. I just don't see how she could have fallen because an owl attacked her. What?
Well, and the other like theory on that one is too is like she was like hopped up on like
Right.
wine and like Valium, I think.
And she
just
slipped.
slipped and fell down the stairs. You don't fucking get like holes in your head from slipping down the stairs. Like I can see you getting like one like head split or something if
Yeah.
like you hit hard enough.
Yeah.
But not multiple stab wounds in your head.
Yeah.
Like
no.
fuck off.
Right. I agree. It doesn't. No. Mm-mm. So, yeah. Let us know your thoughts on all of that. We
And-
had too much fun
Yeah,
watching,
we really
watching
did.
this.
The exhibit A was a lot of fun, and also again, like it's kind of cool to be like really like something brand new
Yeah,
that we're
it's-
talking about
and
because I
it's
think a lot of
different.
things are, like we're at least a few weeks behind.
Yeah. Well, except for Ted Bundy.
Yeah, we were pretty much right on top of that one. But yeah, so like
So-
this is breaking news.
Yeah.
Like this one just came out like last week.
Get in there. It's worth a watch.
Absolutely. That's all I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Excellent. Well,
So-
we will catch you next week.
Yep.
And peace out.
Bye.